Oh, this is interesting. So I am testing out the hybrid version of my photo reading certification class, and I really made myself jump because I put this on just to test out the automations, and it runs through, you know, it puts up the questions, so I could be in the live chat, for example, and I can answer the questions, and it also shows you the questions people who were previously there have asked. But there was no sound because it was in the beginning before the webinar room had opened officially. So I'm in the other room and I hear talking coming from what appears to be either right outside my front door, and then I realise it's coming from my office. I walk back in, I'm like, oh, it's me. But this is the way it works. So this is a pre-recorded class. It's the first class that I ran as the online photo reading certification. I do believe it was a world first. I think I was the first person to run it in this format. The feedback was absolutely amazing. You wouldn't have been able to tell that people were not in the room from the feedback they got. So this is going to be playing automatically. I've just taken off the control lock so I can pause it. Are there any, the way I put it in therapeutic terms, are there any blocks, are there any barriers, are there any limiting beliefs, are there any negative emotions? And so this plays, and at various points, let's say when I hand out a handout, for example, no pun intended, the handout appears in the webinar just as it would when you were there live. When people are asking questions, of course I'm going to answer them on the screen, but the beauty of this is not only will you see all of those questions and get those answers, you can also add your questions in real time. And because this is a live hybrid where I'm going to be live answering questions in the chat, it may be you've got a variation on the theme or a question someone else has asked, or you want to go into a bit more detail. And what I can do at that point, I will answer in the chat if I want to, because I've just realized I can toggle the controls on and off. So either the video will just play or I can unlock it. So for example, people are sometimes, and I can pause the video if I would like to, if I want to then, let's say, turn on my microphone or even my camera and interject. So I am loving this. If you're watching this in real time, it looks as though the date for this will be the 2nd to the 4th of June. And I'm going to run it in the same way that I do. So we do the half day on the Friday, all day on the Saturday and the Sunday. So at the moment I've scheduled the Friday class to start at 2 p.m, which is UK BST. And of course, if you're in another time zone, you can work that out. And there are various websites where you can do that. If you're in Eastern time, you're 5 hours behind us here in the UK. Yeah, it's going to be cool. So you'll be joining this, going through the whole program as it was originally taught in the webinar, and the added benefit of being in the chat. And if you are watching this in real time before the 18th or 17th/18th of May, depending on your time zone, you could also, if you wanted to, book this class at the birthday bonus, which is 55% off, because it's my birthday this month, so I'm running a bonus right up until my birthday. And not only will you get instant access to the recording, you can also join us for the live hybrid web shop as well. So I shall leave it for you to decide what you would like to do, or you can just purchase it as you would normally, which is £850. But if you want to take advantage of the birthday bonus, go for it. Anyway, I shall leave it there. The test is complete. It is all working perfectly. I'm delighted about that. So if you're joining me for the live hybrid photo reading certification class, I very much look forward to working with you. Marilyn Devonish from transformationstm.com, over and out. And if you want further information about photo reading generally, go to my website www.transformationstm.com/photo reading. And trance, TRANCE, F for Freddy, so FORMATIONSTM.com. So transformationstm.com/photo reading. And that's where you'll find information about the course generally. All right. And if you know anyone who would be interested in joining us and could benefit from, of course, it's about reading faster initially, but I always say photo reading goes way beyond reading. So in terms of your critical thinking, decision making, your intuition, stress management, getting into the flow state, of course getting more done in less time, so many benefits. Waking up that left and right brain integration. It's one of the things, well, it is, you know, this is the thing I came across when I'd been diagnosed with what was thought to be early onset Alzheimer's in my 20s. I struggled and suffered for many years, and then something came through the door, and funnily enough I had something through the door this week from Learning Strategies, the Chun Yi Lin thing. There's going to be a free online fest, healing fest, so if you're watching this in real time you'll find the link to that on my page. What I'll also do maybe is add it to the description or in the comments of this video, and it's a free online fest. But I got something through the post asking if I would like to read faster, drink in information like I was drinking it in through a fire hose, improve my memory, my retention, my recall, do better at tests, excel at work, take in and kind of just integrate and absorb massive amounts of information. I was like, yes. And then, and this is a bit where my brain switched off a bit, it talked about reading at 25,000 words per minute and getting through whole books in 5 minutes. And that's when I was like, oh boy, that could not be possible. And you know, I'd seen these are the original older slides. So that's Einstein. You can see Einstein's eyes there in the corner, top left. And this is one of Learning Strategies, are one of the few organizations who have legal use of Einstein's image, because what they're teaching is just so profound. And if you look at the screen where you see me wearing the orange top, look at, gosh, I should tidy up that bottom shelf, some of my folders, but folders aren't neat, they're all different sizes, whatever. But look at that sort of middle shelf, and then just work your way back from my shoulder, and about 3 or 4 boxes in, you'll see the green box, which is the PhotoReading cassette tapes. Those were the cassette tapes that I purchased back in 1998 when I heard all this blurb. Then they sat on the shelf for about 2 years because I just couldn't get my head around the fact that it could be true and it could be possible with all the Alzheimer's stuff that I had going on, where I could read something 15, 20 times and still have no recollection of what I'd read. So this just seemed like pie in the sky, getting through books in 5 minutes. And the average reading speed for many people is between 300 and 450 words a minute. So when someone is talking about 25,000 words per minute, this was like, whoa, get out of here. It wasn't until in October 2000, I went to do my NLP practitioner training, and the person leading the course was on stage, you know, had some notes on a music stand, but was basically quoting names, dates, places, facts, figures, case studies, yeah, answering questions, bang, bang, bang. And somebody said, how do you remember all of this stuff? And he said, I read 20 to 30 books a month. At which point I leaned over to the person next to me and was like, I don't even read that in a year. Clearly this guy doesn't get out enough. And then someone, of course, says, well, how do you do that? Because he's running the trainings. I know now they're in the training room often over 200 days a year, because I ended up working for them once I completed my master practitioner training. And he said, I photo read. And he pointed to the resource table at the back of the room. And so I looked and I was like, oh my goodness, those are the tapes that I've had sitting on a shelf for 2 years gathering dust, which is where I then coined the phrase for myself, shelf development. And I decided, because I really struggled with the practitioner test, even though it was open book, I had all the notes at home, I'd had them for several weeks over the summer, all the books, all the tapes, all of the working notes, the folders, and I still struggled. And I thought, you know, once I'd gotten over myself and decided that I was open to personal development, and decided I was going to go back and do the master practitioner training, which was 14 days, that's 2 full weeks. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home and listen to those tapes and just do the exercises with an open mind. And the rest, as they say, is history. And I went from worst in class in the October to best in class a month later. Absolutely blew my freaking mind. And that's when I was like, oh my God, there is something in this. And with the things that continually then happened when I was in the training room, you know, I remember somebody coming up and they were in a really, 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 really bad temper. They were just on one because the job that I had was running the room. So there was a team of coaches that would report into me, and then I would report into the person who was ultimately running the workshop. But pretty much the buck stopped with me in terms of if I was going to say yes, a test was passed or not. And I'd said to someone, one of the coaches, I can't pass this test. It's not up to standard. The person came back to me in an absolute temper, rage, saying that one of their friends had written exactly the same thing that their coach had marked them down for, and and it's not in the book, and they were just going off on one. So I just stood and I just listened. And I said, it is in the book, and there are a few distinctions you've... No, I haven't. And they said, show me where. Now, the books were behind me on the resource table. I hadn't looked at those books since using them the year before. And really, when I say using them, if I show you what I did, you'd be like, Marilyn, what are you doing? Because I photo read them, which is the 5-minute thing, and then super reading and dipping and getting the information I need, yada, yada, yada. So we lean back, I pick up the book off the table, and I said, it's definitely in here. And I just opened the book at random, and we both looked down, and I'd opened the book on the exact page we were talking about. They went, whoa. I went, oh, that's interesting, and showed them what I meant, and off they went. They then came back in the next break and said, do the thing, do the thing. I said, what thing? That thing where we talk about something, you open the book at random. And I laughed, and I was thinking, well, it's probably a bit of a fluke, but anyway. And so there was another book. It was Hypnosis by Tad James. Now, I've still got my copy of the book. It is pristine. I barely touched that thing. Or as I said, I just photo read it for 5 minutes, activated it, got what I needed, end of story. Didn't need to go back to it again. I've got it on the shelf to this day. 23 years later, I can show it to you on another webinar. It is pristine. It looks like it's brand new. That's how little I've had to go back through it. So I picked this book from Tad James, and I said, okay, what are we looking for? And somebody shouts something out. So while I'm looking at the crowd of people around me, I open the book at random. We all looked down. There was a moment of silence, and it was like, oh my God, it had opened at the exact page, at which point the crowd went wild. And on that training, typically we would sell 1 or 2 of the photo reading courses, if that. You know, they were £199, so, you know, fairly, fairly pricey for what people perceive to be just 6-8 cassette tapes. On that training, I think we sold 26 of the photo reading courses, and because we didn't ever sell that many, we never had them in stock. So every couple of days, because it was a 14-day training, every couple of days I'm on the phone to what was then the UK supplier. Can you get me more tapes? Can you get me more tapes? Can you get me more tapes? And then I'm watching the door to see the door burst open and the courier coming with a trolley. And the reason why we just didn't batch order is the suppliers didn't have them in stock either, because they weren't used to getting that many orders coming in at once. So it was like, oh my goodness. But that, and there were several other things that happened, but that's one of those standout moments which really made me go, wow, there is really something going on here. There is really something to this photo reading. And seriously, the synchronicities are just, and at one point I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I've got to find out more about this. So in early 2002, when things just kept happening, and not just for me, but for people I was sharing this with, and they were going off and, you know, teaching, doing the courses, etc. I was just like, oh my gosh, I wonder how you learn to teach this thing. So I pick up the phone. There's a telephone number on the back of the photo reading book, and I just called it. Someone answered. I said, I'd like to learn more about how to become a photo reading trainer, because I'm just getting profound results with this. And they said, oh, hold on a minute, I'll put you through. And they put me through to a beautiful soul called Lynette Ayres. She was the master trainer up until a few years ago. And bar, I think it was 6 or 7 people, she had trained every single photo reading instructor in the world. So they put me through to Lynette, and Lynette is like, wow, well, this is good timing, because the course material we only run this twice a year. So we're running an instructor training next week. The course materials are going to press tomorrow because they print them on demand and change them and adjust them for each course. Would you like the place? Somebody's just pulled, we were full, but someone's just pulled out. So we were just going to take it, we were going to adjust the print order, but we can leave it on. Do you want to join us? And I was like, I've got to check with my boss because I'm working. Now, we had a really full schedule, nearly 250 days a year, 220 days a year in terms of being in the training room. It just so happened that the 3-week gap that I would be away, it was a gap in the schedule. So I would miss 1 or 2 days. And a friend of mine, Paul Vernon, said, no problem, I'll stand in for you. So they gave me permission to go. So I called back. I said, yes, I can make it. And she said, where did you complete your photo reading training? And I said, oh, I've got the tape. So she said, no. In order to become an instructor, you have to attend the weekend workshop. I'm like, oh my God, well, the workshop training is next week. The weekend is in a couple of days, and then I'll be allegedly on a plane. So I then had to run around, and you're not going to believe this. It just so happened. Now, I was born in South London, very close to Brixton, so know the area pretty well. I was searching about trying to find a photo reading training. Where can I do a training? It just so happened that there was a guy running a photo reading training at his house in Brixton Hill on the Saturday and the Sunday, a couple of days before I was due to fly out to Minneapolis in the United States. He had places, so I booked my place, attended that workshop, and then jumped on a plane a couple of days later. It was so short notice. I did not have a suitcase because I hadn't traveled for a while. My suitcase, the zip had broken. I'd never got around to fixing it. I thought, oh, next time I plan a trip, I'll get one. And because this wasn't planned, I didn't have a suitcase. So again, lovely Paul Vernon says, I'll take you to the airport. Just put all your stuff in black bags, rubbish bags, what you call garbage sacks in the United States. Put it into rubbish sacks, and I'll drive you to the airport and we'll buy a suitcase at the airport. So that's what I did. So, you know, when you go through security and they say, did you pack this suitcase yourself? I looked around, I pointed at the security camera. I said, if you check that camera right there, you will see me on my hands and knees 20 minutes ago packing this suitcase. So I bought the suitcase, opened it, tipped all the rubbish bags into it, and jumped on a plane. And that was in March 2002 when I completed my photo reading instructor training. So yes, it's been quite a journey. So I didn't anticipate this video to be this long, but I was like, I started, so I might as well just tell you the story now if you're interested. And if you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. But yeah, it's been a game changer. It has been life changing. I've worked with attendees, students from age 7 to 70 plus. I've had people with dyslexia, dyspraxia, brain damage, you name it, autism. Mind-blowing results, absolutely mind-blowing, and I tell you about many of those during the workshops. You've probably seen my blogs, you've probably seen my Facebook posts, etc. And again, if you're watching this in real time, go to my page, look at the exposure blog. That's what the hosting company is called. And I'm just about to, I've uploaded a couple of the videos already, so you can watch the ripple effect video where I take you through some of those case studies. And yes, I have students coming along, and I've had students who've got an unclassified exam in their exam. 3 weeks later, having taken my instruction, they get a B. That's how profound it can be. And I also have a lot of executives and entrepreneurs, people who are not studying, they're not students, but they know industry, their area is moving fast. They need to be able to keep up. And there's a wonderful video and I added it to the exposure blog yesterday, by Penny Kroll. She's a meta medicine trainer. She said, if you have other workshops and trainings to do the photo reading first, because it will help you with everything else. I've had families attend. Seriously, a team of rocket scientists from Cranfield University. Many of you have probably seen me share the collage of what they said. You know, fun, enlightening, professional, impressive, should be given to every first year PhD student. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing. I've had authors, engineers, computer scientists, doctors, surgeons, accountants, marketing executives, crystal healers, school teachers, you name it, they've been on it. Absolutely mind-blowing. I've had people who were behind the camera. There was a lovely lady who used to do the makeup, Lee Pycroft. She ran the makeup company that did all the makeup for Britain and Ireland's Next Top Model. And she attended the photo reading workshop. The following week went back to work, and someone asked her to do a screen test for something, and she said she used the photo reading techniques, and people were like, wow, you were amazing, that was awesome. She's always someone who was previously behind the camera. I believe she's now had a complete change of career and is a therapist, etc., doing a lot of front-facing work. So seriously, I could be here for another 20 gazillion hours talking to you about some of the mind-blowing things that have happened over the years for my clients, my photo reading clients. But as I said, you know where to find the data, and if you don't, let me know. You'll probably find it on my blog, MarilynDevonish.com, M-A-R-I-L, it's there on the screen, MarilynDev for Victor, O-N-I-S-H, MarilynDevonish.com is where you'll find my blog. There is a search facility. So type in photo reading, and then it will find you all of my photo reading blogs. I've written some of those as case studies. So for example, Kay, who was in a plane crash and had brain damage and had been like that for 7 years, I think it was, when she finally signed up for the photo reading, was quite tearful on the first day, saying she wishes she had signed up when I first told her about it, rather than wasting all of those years. Well, not wasting all of those years, but you know what I mean, when you suddenly realise that something you thought was permanent can be changed in a couple of hours. And so I did a whole blog about that, and added the piece where the doctor who saved her life because the light aircraft went down in the middle of a field, and it was like something from a movie. But I've written all about that. Kay has written about it in her own words as well, in terms of talking about she feels like her brain was rewired over the course of those 2.5 days at the photo reading workshop. So yeah, all of the data is out there. If you're not a photo reader, then pull yourself up a cup of your favourite brew to have a read. If you're a photo reader, you can blast through those in a matter of minutes. But anyway, I'm really going to leave it there, because I can talk about photo reading forever and ever and ever, because I love it so much. It has changed my life. Seriously, I can't even begin to imagine my life. And for those of you who are doing my Fearless Public Speaking program, you get for those of you in the VIP, you get day 1 of the photo reading as a bonus, because photo reading is one of the things that I use when I'm preparing for workshops, keynote presentations, events, emceeing, doing live TV and live radio interviews. I use many of the photo reading techniques to prepare for that. So you get day 1 as a bonus, but if you want to do the whole thing, then this is a wonderful opportunity. And as I said, if you're watching this in real time, you can get 55% off with the birthday bonus. But that ends on the 17th of May, the year 2023. All right, I'm really leaving it there now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Feel free to share this video if you know someone who could benefit from photo reading. Quite frankly, it's one of those things I'm like, everyone can benefit, but that's not good marketing. But it's true. Right. Catch it all later. Thank you all. And thank you to everyone who has attended the classes over the years, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do what I was doing. Catch it all later. Bye-bye.